Hi everybody, it is Stacey Calder from the Business Success Network and Magazine. And as promised, it is 7:30, it is Monday evening, and we're going to be doing some awards talk. Now, we haven't actually done a live like this. So this is the third year of the awards, and we always like to add some extra content when it comes to awards. We've done things like we'll have makeup artists on site in the day that you can book in with to have your makeup done and hair done and things like that. But we wanted to give the guys a chance to get involved. And so I've known James for a long, long time now. We've networked together for a very, very long time, number of years, well before COVID, through different networks and networking groups and things like that. So I'm going to bring him in. He's going to share with you some top tips, some style things. You know, what does black tie even mean? So he's going to talk about that. I am going to sit quietly in the background, and because Facebook has been a bit naughty and they've stopped third-party streaming, if I'm sat here like this for 5 minutes, it's because I'm sharing this into all of our Facebook communities. So if you're not yet in our Facebook community, that's where all the cool kids hang out. If you go to Facebook, search Business Success Network UK, you'll find it on Facebook. You'll see it. It's very much this branding. And if you're watching it on YouTube or LinkedIn, you are very much welcome to come over into the community and say hello as well, because that's where we give away all the tools, the tips, the techniques, not just the award chatter. So let's bring in James, because you'll already be sick of the sight of me. And he's looking very dapper, I have to say.
Thank you very much. What an introduction.
You're in your own. I just love the colour. Is that all ties in the background?
But yeah, so that's a wall of ties.
Oh, I love it.
My practice both as a stylist and my business as a menswear brand is all about pattern and colour and accessories. And one of the first things that we did when we decided we were going to open the store was I wanted to have a custom-made wall of ties. So it's 280 ties behind me, none of which are the same. They're all different colours and patterns. And it's one of the biggest kind of selections of ties in the UK, I think. I've been told. So, but today isn't necessarily about those kind of ties. It's more about these kind of ties.
Absolutely. So I'm going to hand over to you now. We're going to put you onto the big screen, if you like. I'm going to be sat here sharing it into the community. What I will do, what we've said to people is, please do like, comment, share, ask your questions. If you know any guys that need some help with their styling for the awards, tag them in. Let's get this seen. If you're watching it on replay, hashtag replay. I'm sure James will come back and answer your questions.
Absolutely.
I would try, but I'd probably be really rubbish, so I won't. But I'm going to make James appear very big now. You can see zoom in on his tie collection, and hopefully he'll share a bit of his story as well about how you got into styling, because I love that story. And over to you, James.
So I think, wrong way. Does that mean? Yep, that's us. So first things first, I think you mentioned it there, which was a story about how I became a stylist. I have been obsessed with colour and pattern my entire life. The joys of having the ADHD brain that I have is that I see pattern everywhere, and I love pattern and I love colour. So I trained as a graphic designer and spent almost 2 decades, or just over 2 decades, in fact, working as a graphic designer, both within the industry, working for big businesses, but then later my wife, where we owned our own branding business. Before lockdown, which is like kind of how the world is divided now, is before lockdown and after lockdown, I lost a substantial amount of weight. I lost just around 10 stone in weight. And at that point, I went from kind of not really caring what I wore to really kind of realizing that the world of style and fashion and looking good that I'd missed for a very long time because of the size I was something that was reopening to me. And because as a 40-something-year-old man, there wasn't a lot of advice out there for me. There wasn't a lot of information out there for me about how to look my best, about what brands were best for me, about what best to wear. I decided to in lockdown, when my brand kind of shut down for lockdown, decided to kind of pivot, I think was the word that everyone used, and start not only my own clothing brand, but my own personal styling practice. And I specialize within that practice in color and body shape analysis, where I help men and women. Most of my clients for that part of my business are women, in basically finding the best colours for themselves and the best shapes to wear. My store is a luxury menswear and accessories store based in Carlisle, but we're online and we sell over the world. And hopefully Stacey will drop some links to my website. And basically we focus on luxury accessories because that's the bit that most men miss. Most men's wardrobes are full of greys and navy blues and blacks, and they miss that little pop of colour and pattern that the right accessories can give. So that's a little bit about my story. The reason I'm standing here dressed like the next Bond candidate lined up after I can't remember his name, the guy who's not actually going to do it after all. No. There was a person who everyone thought was going to get the gig and didn't.
Yeah.
I can't remember him. Anyway, so I'm a bit more Bond than he is anyway. However, I'm not auditioning for Bond. I'm here to talk about evening dress, particularly evening dress for men. Award ceremonies are one of those scenarios where I often find that women outstrip men so much. They put in so much effort. They find dresses that are spectacular. They get made up, as Stacey said. There are makeup artists on site to help them look their absolute best. They dress to the nines and dress to impress. And quite often, more often than not, men tend to put on a black suit, a bow tie, and think that's them done. And there's so much more to evening wear and so much more to looking good in evening wear that I wanted to take the opportunity when Stacey offered it to come on and talk mainly about the differences between just wearing a black suit with a bow tie and evening wear, and how you can kind of elevate your look to make sure that in an award ceremony, you're more likely to be photographed or videoed at any other time other than probably your wedding. So if there's ever a time to look your absolute best, it's got to be when people are going to be watching. So what I want to do is just talk firstly about the differences between just a black suit and a bow tie and proper formal evening wear, and how to do it on a budget so it doesn't break the bank. Because we all know that we're only going to wear a dinner suit a few times a year, if that. So nobody wants to spend an absolute fortune. And if you don't want to spend a fortune, then I can give you some tips and some hints on how to do it without breaking the bank. So the first things first, I've got some notes on my phone because, I'm getting to the age now where the memory's not what it was. So whereas I would hope to have everything in memory, I'm now going to use my phone. So the first things first, which is this is a dinner suit. In the UK, we call it a dinner suit, or in Europe, we call it a dinner suit. In America, they call it a tuxedo. It's the same thing. But in the UK, it would be called a dinner suit. The reason it's called a tuxedo in America is that in about 1886, 1887, the first dinner suits came to America from Europe. And the first place they were worn was in a place called Tuxedo Park. And when people were describing this new-fangled invention outfit that they'd never seen before, they described it firstly as a Tuxedo Park suit, then as a tuxedo suit, and then just as a tuxedo. And as with all things American that came from Britain and went over to America, at some point it came back to the UK, and everyone now knows them as either a dinner suit or a tuxedo. Fundamentally, it's the same thing. And there are some points of difference between a tuxedo or a dinner jacket and dinner suit and a normal suit. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through those. I'm going to start with the suit itself, then shirt, tie, shoes, the whole lot. I would love you to ask questions. Q&As are the best thing in the world because they mean that when I'm finished talking, I don't have to think of more stuff to say. And I have old man eyes. I'm miles away from my laptop. So when I'm done, I'm going to sit down and Stacey's going to let me know what questions people have asked. So first things first, we're going to talk about the jacket of a dinner suit. There are some differences between the jacket of a dinner suit and a normal suit jacket that you would wear. And we're going to start at the top. We're going to start with the lapels. So generally lapels on a dinner suit would be made of satin, and they would either be a shawl that goes all the way right across the back of your neck and down, a peak lapel, which is the one that's the pointy one that goes out like that, or like my jacket, a notch lapel. Now, a little hint for the broader gentlemen out there like myself. I'm still, even though I lost a load of weight, I'm still a broader guy. A notch lapel is a little bit more flattering to a broader physique than either of those other two. The next thing to talk about is the buttons on a dinner jacket. So a dinner jacket will often only have one button rather than 2 or 3. And that button will be, as you can possibly see, if I can get in there, will be covered with a satin fabric rather than just a standard button. So those are the main differences between a dinner jacket and a standard suit jacket. A dinner jacket would normally be black or navy blue. Here's a real here's a real industry tip that you'll find in red carpets all over the world. If you think that you're going to get lots and lots of photographs taken of you, go for a midnight blue dinner jacket rather than a black one, because when cameras flash, black dinner jackets can sometimes come off as a little bit brown, whereas a midnight blue will show up as black. So what you'll see is that when you see all the people that are getting photographed, and you'll now notice it every time you look in the papers, the jackets that look really, really black in the photographs tend to be midnight blue rather than black like this one. The next difference is the shirt. So the shirt that I'm wearing is an evening wear shirt, and it differs from a normal shirt in a few different ways. So the first way is the collar, and I'm going to bring an example of a different type of collar, which I brought earlier, which I placed earlier on, which is a wing collar. So this is a wing collar, which is one type of evening shirt. And this shirt that I'm wearing is just a standard collared shirt. The wing collar shirt is a slightly more formal look. It's one that would normally be worn for like high occasions where you'd be wearing like a white tie or a morning suit. But it sometimes kind of drifts over into evening wear. The one tip I would give you for a wing collar is, if you're wearing a wing collar, you don't tuck the wings under your bow tie. The wings sit on top of your bow tie. So what you tend to find is that the people that wear wing collars, if they know how to wear a wing collar, it will sit on top of their bow tie. The other tip I would give you is, if you don't tie your own bow tie and you're wearing a pre-tied bow tie, don't go for a wing collar, because all of the kind of the contraptions and gubbins in the back that tie the tie are on show. Whereas with a collar like this, it's all nicely, neatly covered up, and the only person to know that you didn't tie yourself is you. So that's the shirt. The other main difference between a standard shirt and an evening shirt is the buttons. So as you can see on this, there's a cover which is over the buttons. Sometimes it's a plain cover. Sometimes it's a cover which will allow you to put little studs in. So sometimes you see people with black studs. And sometimes there are even frills on the front of the shirt, like this one here. I don't know if that shows up in the camera, Stacey, that it has a kind of frilled front to it. Yep. And these are just little extras, little bits to add a little bit more interest. If you can imagine, because you're wearing a bow tie and not a tie that comes down here, this is all just about making this part look interesting. The other main thing about an evening wear shirt rather than a normal shirt would be that evening wear shirt would usually have French cuffs. So a French cuff is a cuff that folds back on itself and you wear with cufflinks. As you can see, I like a bit of bling. I'm not adverse to a bit of bling. So because I'm wearing a green bow tie, I've got some green cufflinks on there as well. Often, if you don't own any cufflinks, these shirts will come with a kind of knot cufflink made of fabric. Absolutely perfectly acceptable to wear. And that is the main differences between an evening shirt and a standard shirt you would wear. Normally, because you're wearing a bow tie, this part normally on a shirt that you would wear with a tie would be covered, which is why the buttons are covered, because it's designed to wear with a bow tie. The next kind of point of difference in a dinner suit versus a normal suit are the trousers. Now, this is going to be a bit more difficult to see, but if you look at the side of my trouser, does that show up on the camera?
Oh, it does, but if you could just move to the left or the right a little bit, you're not going to be in the way of the logo's in the way.
So if I move there, you can see the satin stripe down the side of the trouser. And that satin stripe is just there. I never thought I'd be showing a bit of leg on camera.
My husband sat next to me and he's just gone, fwa.
That satin stripe is there to pick up on the satin of the jacket. And it's just the difference, just to elevate the trousers of a dinner suit rather than a normal pair of trousers. The other main difference between a pair of trousers with a dinner suit is they tend not to have belt loops. Dinner suit trousers would not have belt loops. They'll have side adjusters, but we'll get into that in a wee second. But you would tend to find that a pair of trousers for a dinner suit wouldn't have belt loops. What I would say to you is that if you are looking at buying a dinner jacket, the jacket is the kind of focus point. The trousers are a nice add-on, but just a standard pair of black trousers in the same or similar fabric to the jacket will work just as well. But the jacket with the satin lapels is generally what is considered to be the standard kind of evening dinner jacket attire. Next, I'm going to talk about shoes. Shoes are the one thing that are most likely to make me scream at people's photographs when I see them at award ceremonies or on the red carpet or anywhere where they're getting their picture taken in evening wear. Because sometimes you see somebody who has done entirely the right thing. They've got a beautiful evening suit. They have a gorgeous bow tie on. They have a shirt on which has little black studs. It's all done impeccably. And then they have a pair of scruffy old brogues on that haven't seen a polish brush in decades. And the correct form of shoe to wear with an evening suit is a highly polished shoe. That goes back to the days of military attire in the kind of 17 and 1800s, when gentlemen, officers would polish their shoes very highly to a mirror shine to basically show that they weren't out in the kind of in the trenches in the fields, and that they were the kind of officer class, and that they were the people who were able to have shiny shoes. Nowadays, it translates slightly differently to a couple of different options. I can't get my leg high enough to show you this, but I tend not to wear a patent shoe. I wear a shoe which is polished to a mirror shine, because I just prefer that for my look. But it's a shoe that I wear only very rarely, and make sure that it is kept really, really super shiny, so that when I wear it for evening wear, it does have that mirror polish shine to it. The other option is a patent shoe. And these are a couple of different options for patent shoes. Okay, so patent shoes are made of leather which is coated, which gives them a high shine. And these are shoes that are designed specifically for wear with evening wear. There's a couple of different options. The best option would be an Oxford, which, if anybody's a Kingsman fan, will be aware of Oxfords, not brogues. That's one way to describe it. But an Oxford shoe is a shoe which has closed laces, so it looks a lot neater and sharper. The other option for anybody who has a wider foot would be, excuse me, would be a shoe that has an open lacing system, which is called a derby shoe, where it opens a little bit wider. So they're better for people that have a wider foot. But either way, what they are is a very shiny, high gloss shoe. Even if you're not going to go for something like a patent shoe or a high gloss shoe, do you know what to do? Just get some shoe polish, get a shoe brush, and give your shoes a good shine, because there's nothing lets down an evening wear look down than a pair of scruffy shoes. And I think you would agree with that, Stacey, hopefully, that you see it all the time at award ceremonies. People have gone all whole hog down, and then their shoes just look like.
I have to say, I know friends that have that. You know, they look at future partners. They look at their shoes first. So get a good shoe, folks. Absolutely.
So you can't see it, but another part of my shop is a wall of shoes. So I completely agree with that.
Come and visit your shop.
But specifically for evening wear, either go with a patent shoe. Now, they aren't necessarily expensive, but we'll talk about how to do things in a little bit of a budget in a moment. But it's not about the cost, because you can just take a really good shoe polish and a good brush to your shoes and get a nice even shine. So once we've done that, we're going to talk about accessories. So obviously the main accessory with a dinner jacket or dinner suit is a bow tie. Okay, so there are two types of bow tie. There is a self-tie bow tie, which is this style here. So a self-tie bow tie. Now, I've not tied a bow tie this year yet, so I'm not going to tie this one just now, because it will take me like 2 or 3 goes, and it's not good viewing, right? Watching someone trying to tie a bow tie. But a self-tie bow tie is a tie that starts flat and you tie it yourself. I will send you, Stacey, my guide to tying a bow tie, which has it in about 12 steps. It's really straightforward to do, and you can link that in, send it to whoever you want or anyone who wants to get it, and it will show them how to tie a bow tie really straightforwardly. Alternatively, If you don't want to learn how to tie your own bow tie, you can just do what everyone else does and cheat. There are loads of different options for a pre-tied bow tie. These ones, the one that I'm wearing is a dark green velvet bow tie. Bow ties come in lots of different colours and lots of different styles to kind of suit your style. I think Keith Blakemore Noble is a member of your group.
He is. He's a finalist as well. Yeah.
He is a very, very proficient wearer of a bow tie, and just because the invitation says black tie, it doesn't mean it needs to be a black tie. It's just a way of describing a formal occasion. Again, history geek here. It goes back to the fact that it's a way of describing a formal occasion which isn't white tie. And white tie is the most elevated form of evening wear. And that is one that really does have rules, including wearing gloves and stuff like that. So nobody needs that in their life. But black tie just basically means it's a formal occasion. Now, some people just don't like bow ties. They don't like it feeling in their face. It's just not for them. So for those people, what I would suggest is that just a nice, good quality, plain black tie. Or alternatively, I'm going to reach into my wall of ties. Alternatively, if you don't want to wear a black tie, the other alternative would be to wear something like this, which is a silver tie. And either of these will work perfectly well as an alternative to a bow tie. So a black or a silver tie works just perfectly, just as well as an alternative to a bow tie when it comes to evening wear. However, if you're going to wear a wing collar, please don't wear a wing collar with one of these ties because it'll just look insane. Okay, so that would be the other option, is that if you want a nice, plain, simple black tie, wearing that with a black suit is always an alternative to formal evening wear. However, it's that middle ground where it gets muddy, where everyone starts to kind of look a little bit, ooh. If you're going to commit to wearing a black tie and a suit, do it. Make sure everything's pressed, clean, neat, tidy. But don't kind of mix your two grounds. The next part of formal evening wear in there would be the fact that we don't wear a belt with evening wear. So as I said, most evening wear trousers will come with, and I'm not going to show you because I won't be able to show you, a little adjuster at the side. However, if you're a bigger gentleman like myself, I'm not a big fan of trusting them. So the way that you would make sure that your trousers stay up when wearing evening wear would normally be braces. And with an evening wear look, the preferred style of braces would be a white pair of braces. The reason for that is that what you want is that if you see a flash of the braces under your jacket, it doesn't kind of stand out or look bright. However, again, that's probably the area that people have the most opportunity for a bit of flamboyance in. If you're not going to wear a pair of white braces, just wear something bright, snazzy, fun, something that fits your personality.
Feeling a nice pink.
Exactly. I'm a big fan. I have about 40 pairs of braces in different colours and patterns. It was just because I was trying to dress uber formally for tonight, just to kind of show the kind of top level that I went with white braces. I've also got on an item called a cummerbund. So a cummerbund, simply put, is a covering for the waist. They're normally made of satin, or in this case, because I'm wearing a velvet bow tie, it's made of velvet. And the number one mistake that people have when they wear a cummerbund is they put it on the wrong way around, right? So if you do choose to wear a cummerbund, the slats in the cummerbund should face up the way, right? So you should be able to put your finger in the slat of the cummerbund like that and have your finger in there. So rather than the other way around, everyone seems to think that they should go that way so that if you eat something or drink something, the crumbs will just fall off. That's not what they're for. So the slats go the other way, so they kind of face up. But the whole point of a cummerbund is just to cover the transition between your trousers and your shirt. Because evening wear, formal wear is all about making everything look sharp, neat, tidy. That's why we don't have buttons on show. It's why we don't have buttons on our cuffs. It's just about everything looking sharp, neat, and tidy. And then the second to last one would be a pocket square, or a hanky in this case. So again, keep it nice and simple. This is what's called a presidential fold, which is a fold that goes just in a straight line. And I don't know if you can pick that up in the camera. The top edge of this pocket square is just dark green. which ties in with my bow tie and my cummerbund. But again, nice, straightforward and simple. The reason why we wear hankies as gentlemen in our top pockets is that, again, if we go back to the 1700s and 1800s, if a lady felt a bit faint or needed to kind of powder her nose or something, then a gentleman would always have a hanky on hand if it was in his top pocket to help that lady out. However, as time has gone on and women have become considerably better at kind of being organised or things like that than men are, it's now just become a bit of a style statement. But just a simple pocket square can add. Now, most evening or dinner jackets don't have a lapel buttonhole in them. So generally one would kind of steer away from having any form of pins or buttons or anything on the lapel. If your jacket does have a buttonhole, though, keep it nice and simple and straightforward. It's all about the elegant, sleek style. And the last thing to talk about is watches. Stacey, do you wear an Apple Watch?
No, I do not.
Right, neither do I. But everybody else on the planet seems to. Right. When one's talking about evening wear, Apple Watches are a huge no-no. There is absolutely nothing that looks worse than seeing someone standing there in a beautiful dinner jacket, having their photograph taken, big thumbs up because they've won an award, and their jacket is like their wrist is like lit up like a Christmas tree because somebody's just sent them a notification that the Deliveroo's just arrived or something. So basically, when it comes to evening wear, leave your Apple Watch at home. Do you know what? Your emails can wait until you get back from the award ceremony. Just a simple, nice, plain wristwatch or no watch at all. But please, 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 no Apple Watches when it comes to evening wear. Now, I just wanted to do two more quick things. So the first thing is that this is quite a traditional dinner jacket, and we're not all traditional people. So what I wanted to do was show another alternative to a traditional dinner jacket, which is this. So this is also my jacket too, and it's basically a velvet jacket with a satin band across the collar. Again, same as a normal dinner jacket. It has a satin covered button and it's just a little bit more formal than a normal velvet jacket would be, but it's just a slightly more modern twist and would be worn exactly the same way. So Stacey, if I was to ask you how much you thought my dinner suit cost, what would you say?
Oh, this is a tough one because we have been talking backstage, but it does look absolutely beautiful. And I know from going shopping to tailors and all sorts of places with Mr. C over the years that it can be quite an expense for a guy.
Absolutely. And the reason why I asked that question rather pointedly like that was because when I knew I was coming on and doing this chat to the members of the network, I decided to take one barrier completely out of the way. And that barrier is the barrier of expense. Everybody thinks that an evening look is always a really expensive look. And you know what? You're absolutely right. If you go to a tailor's or a high-end store, they will charge over the odds because they figure, well, if you're going to an award ceremony or you're going to a black tie ball or a gala, then you know what? You can afford to spend the money. This suit, the whole suit, not just the jacket, came from Vinted and delivered cost me under £20. The dinner jacket that I have here, the velvet dinner jacket, also came from Vinted, delivered cost me £14. So it's not about spending a huge amount of money, it's about getting the look. And once you realize that you kind of want a specific look, just get on there, go into Vinted or eBay or Depop or any of those kind of groups or any of those websites, and there are bargains to be had out there. Because there's lots and lots of guys that will buy a dinner suit for one occasion. They'll never plan to wear it again, and they just want red. Or more appropriately, 9 times out of 10, their wife wants wardrobe space and wants red on their behalf. Therefore, it goes on for pennies in the pound. So this is a dinner jacket or a dinner suit, which when it was new would have probably cost in excess of £300. It's been worn at most, judging by it, a handful of times. It cost me £19 delivered, and it cost me £10 to take it to my local alteration seamstress and have the sleeves and the trousers taken up just so it fitted me absolutely perfectly. The rest of the look in total, shirt, braces, cummerbund, tie, probably came in at under £50. And if I was to add a pair of patent shoes in that, you're talking about the whole look for under £100. So when you are up for an award, or even more importantly, if you think you're a shoo-in and you're going to win that award, right? You know you're going to be photographed, you know you're going to be videoed, you know that you're going to be on that step and repeat behind you at the award ceremony. Why not spend that little bit of money just to elevate your style and just to make you look like you are the absolute king of that award ceremony? And more importantly, if your wife or your significant other or partner is with you and looking absolutely killer in a dress that she spent ages trying to find and wants to look absolutely brown, don't let her down. Take a little bit of time, spend a little bit of money, and look your absolute best. So that's my tips for the differences between standard kind of suiting and evening wear. I'd love if anyone's got any questions or comments or anything. I would be really happy and love to take those. In order to do that, I'm going to sit down if that's okay. So a little bit of adjustment while I do that. But if anybody's got anything they want to know or any comments they want to make, I would absolutely love that.
I've got a couple from people that have asked me kind of in the run up to this. And if anybody has got any questions that are watching live, I've shared it into all the groups. I've got a feeling that people are going to keep coming back to this, or there's a lot of women that are going to be kind of pointing their phones in the direction of their husbands this evening. Saying,
I'm more than happy to answer questions. More than happy to keep asking questions. So
one of the questions I was asked earlier in the week was, my business partner's coming. They don't do black tie. Is smart. What is it black tie? Is it dress to impress? What's the kind of, they're going to look smart, but they don't do black tie. So what's the best option?
I think the word that I would describe, if something is described as black tie, but you're not going to wear black tie, the word that I would use to describe what you should be aiming for is polished. What you're looking for is an elevated, polished style. If you would wear it to work, then it's probably not what you should be wearing. What you're looking to do is to take it to the next level. So if you've got a black suit that you wear regularly, do you know what? Take it to the dry cleaners. Make sure it's clean, press, crisp. If you've got a white shirt that you wear and it's now gone kind of that horrible grey colour that white shirts go, either get it put in the bin or the charity shop and replace it, or alternatively get one of those sheets that go in your washing machine or whatever and get it looking as crisp as white as you possibly can. And again, as I said, something like a silver tie or just a nice, good quality plain black tie will be an alternative to a bow tie. And for heaven's sake, polish your bloody shoes. That's the one tip that I give to everyone.
One takeaway, isn't it, today? Yeah. It's like polish your shoes. Whatever you do, polish your shoes.
It's about taking what you would normally do on any given Tuesday and just elevating it and polishing it both literally and figuratively to just the next level, because that's the whole point of these ceremonies. The reason why people just don't get posted an award is because there's a real theatre and there's a real kind of an experience to be had. And I think when you feel like you want to hide behind a pillar when someone's taking a photograph, or you don't want to get up from your table to accept it because you don't feel that you're kind of polished enough, you miss out on a lot of that experience. So taking the time and the preparation to just look that little bit more elevated than you normally would, honestly, you're going to enjoy the experience so much more.
And I'm guessing part of what you wear, you need to be wearing something that you feel kind of comfortable in as well, because you don't want to be. I know as a woman, I've sat there at an awards in a dress that looked good, but kind of put the fear of God at me. It was like, if I move, am I going to fall out of this, or is this going to, drop off, or am I going to stand and fall over? There's lots of things to consider. And I'm guessing as well with men's suits, you've got to feel comfortable.
It tends to be more of an issue with women than it is for men, I have to say. But that's one of the reasons why I always recommend that men, if they're wearing a dinner suit, because they tend not to have belt loops, why they should wear a pair of braces. Because there's nothing worse than spending the entire night pulling your trousers up. And then, as with most award ceremonies, you get a few drinks in you, the music starts after the awards, you're on the dance floor, and you don't want to be spending the night pulling your trousers up on the dance floor. So for that reason, I would always recommend a pair of braces is worn. The other thing is, as well, is that if you're going to wear a pair of shoes that are a bit more formal than you would normally wear them in a bit first. Buy them a bit in advance, wear them around the house, wear them down to the corner shop and back up. You will look like an absolute idiot, right? But trust me, on the night when you're wearing them, and award ceremonies are quite long, right? When you're wearing them in that night, you're going to thank yourself, your previous self, for wearing the shoes in a little bit. So make sure that the shoes fit. Make sure that you wear a pair of braces, and don't. The other temptation that men have is that an award ceremony comes up. And you think, oh, somewhere in the back of my wardrobe from 1987 is a dinner jacket that I used to wear, when I used to go somewhere, right? And there are many, many kebabs past that dinner jacket. However, they kind of squeeze themselves in, the button won't close, and that's not a comfortable place to be. So a lot of the time, what I say to my male clients is, just accept that jacket doesn't fit you anymore, stick it on Vinted and get yourself a new one that does fit. And you're going to feel so much more comfortable, and you're going to be more likely to want to wear it. That's the whole point. The great thing about having a great dinner jacket is that you look for opportunities to wear it. So you'll find yourself a lot more often than you would before going to award ceremonies, events, nights out, stuff like that, as an opportunity to wear a good dinner jacket or a good dinner suit.
Absolutely. Now, we were talking, I think I spotted, did I spot a pink dicky bow on your, it looked very pink. It might be red. It might be.
There's a red one there.
I think you had that out on purpose because I love the bright pink.
It's actually a vermilion red. However,
it looks red now, but it looked pink when it was up there.
If you like a pink bow tie.
Oh, look at that.
Right, okay. So
Mr. Calder would kill me if I bought that home for him to put on.
Or something like this. The whole point is that black tie doesn't mean that you have to lose all your personality and it all has to be sucked in. If you give me 2 little seconds, I'm going to leave the camera. I know that it's the one thing you shouldn't do.
Just talk to the chair. No, and the reason I'm asking about colour is because there will be a lot of people at the awards that will be thinking, can I add a bit of my brand colour to it?
Absolutely. So something like this is an absolute perfect way to bring a splash of pop of colour. Or if you want to bring some pattern in.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. So the fact it's all black.
Is there any colours that you would recommend that people absolutely stay away from?
So what I would say to you is that anything that's going to cause cameramen, videographers problems, right? So anything that's a super acid bright color, so a super acid bright green or a super acid bright yellow, because when cameramen are trying to take pictures of you, and the auto exposure's trying to kind of do its thing, it drives it absolutely nuts. If you're going to be on video, the other thing I would recommend staying away from is anything that's a Prince of Wales check or a houndstooth pattern, anything that's going to cause any sort of lens flare. You know how when you watch the TV news and sometimes they'll come on and they've got a jacket on and it makes the TV go a bit wild? So that's a lens flare that's caused by a jacket which has a pattern which the camera just can't quite get hold of. So I think the thing is to keep it, again, as I said, keep it sleek and keep it simple. So if you have a colour that's your brand colour or that you want to wear, absolutely look for something in that, but just try and think about keeping it as kind of sleek and simple. The other thing people ask me all the time is, oh, can I wear like a comedy bow tie? Can I wear like, something, right? Absolutely. But what you've got to think about is that in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, 5 years' time, you're going to look back at those photographs of that event. And at that point, when you look back at those photographs, are you still going to get the joke? Or are you going to think, oh, I wish I'd looked a little bit more polished than I did?
That's a really, really interesting point, because awards, there are lots of cameras around, there are lots of videos around. So, yeah, that is definitely something to think about. You talked about getting up on stage and having your moment. Even if you are not a finalist, there will still be cameras around. You can still have your opportunity to go and get those photos taken. So, yeah, add a bit of sparkle and your brand colours to it. I love that idea. I've been sat looking at dresses, doing the same. What can I go full on brand colours, or shall I do black with a bit of brand colours, accessories, that kind of thing? So there's so many options there. I love it, and I'm really grateful that you chose to talk about the vintage bargains as well, because that's a great place and a great tool to buy things. Is there anything in terms of sizing? And again, you will know this much better than I do because I'm not a male. But when they're buying dinner jackets, dinner suits, is it suit to fit your normal size, or do you go up? Do you go down? Is it because there's
So,
some things where you think, oh, I need to go up a size or down a size.
So generally, a dinner jacket would normally be what would be called a tailored fit. So most jackets either come as what's called a standard or a straight fit or a tailored fit. And a tailored fit, I'm going to stand back up again for this bit because it makes it a bit easier to show you. So if you give me a second, I'll adjust. So a tailored fit would normally be a jacket which will just kind of come in slightly at the waist, right? So it's not going to like strangle you in half. It's not a skinny or a slim fit. Again, if you're a bigger guy like me, stay away from anything that says slim or extra slim or skinny, because on a dinner jacket, it's all about a sleek kind of, kind of polished look. So you don't want anything that you're kind of going to be pulling buttons off of or is going to like cut you in half. So for most dinner jackets, what you'll probably find is that they will come in as a tailored fit. What I would normally suggest you do is if you're going down a fit, you go up a size. So if you're normally a 44 in a standard jacket and you're going to go for a tailored jacket, then go up to a 46 tailored. The other piece of advice that I would give is if you have a local seamstress or an alterations place that you know and you trust, they are absolutely your best friend and they will genuinely know how to alter a dinner jacket to make it look absolutely fantastic, because it's probably the item that gets altered more than anything else is a dinner jacket, because people know that they've invested in this beautiful jacket that they're going to wear for a special occasion. A lot of the times it's like a wedding or a cruise or an anniversary or something, and they want to look amazing. And because they want to look amazing, they want to look their absolute best. So what I would say to you is, if it doesn't fit you perfectly, take it to your local seamstress or alteration shop. Just take the jacket and wear it in, and they will know exactly how to just kind of change it up and pin it and just make it look perfect. I just mentioned the word cruise there, which is if any of your kind of members who are going to go to the award ceremony are planning at any point in the next few years to go on a cruise, invest in a dinner jacket, because you are guaranteed that your cruise is going to have at least one night on it where they're going to want you to wear a dinner jacket. So it's worth buying it just so that you've got it in the wardrobe, so that it's not a thing you're stressing about.
And that's a really good topic as well, because I know from I've done awards for many, many years now. This is our third BSN one, but even before that, I was running one for previous companies. And the first couple of years, Mr. C is getting dragged along, and he'd say, I'm just going to hire one. It's once a year. I'm just going to hire one. And we did for for a number of years. He just hired one. And then he'd say, well, and we'd do the different cufflinks and things like that. And then it got to the point where he's like, do you know what? I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy one. It's going to be really nice. And so we did that for a while. And then, like you say, you kind of weight can fluctuate and go up and down. And last year, I remember he'd got a tux and he said, you know what? I think I'm going to go and rent one again. I'm going to do something different. Mm-hmm. And he went along, and I could tell straight away he was not happy with this suit that they were offering. And he was just like, and they were saying, yep, this is it. And he just looked at me and he went, it's bloody horrible. I'm going to go back and get my suit. There you go. And that's why I said about the comfort thing. You've got to be comfortable in it. He would have worn that and he would have hated the night, because he just said the trousers didn't sit right. Nothing felt right. So, there is that thing of renting a tux versus, buying one. And like you said, if you're going on a cruise, if you're going to enter more awards, it doesn't have to be that you're spending £300-400 on go and have a look on Vintage.
And you know what? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. So, for instance, as part of my menswear business, I do made to measure. And one of the things that we do in made to measure more than anything else are dinner jackets. Because if people, they regularly, say for instance, they're in organizations where they regularly go to award ceremonies or dinners or events, and they want to feel, $1 million, right? Investing that money in a good dinner jacket is a great way to do that, because every time you put that jacket on, it's an event. Yeah, you're kind of going, bam.
Oh, you get in the zone, don't you? And you feel it's the same. It's the same with women when they put on that dress, yep, and they have their hair done. It's amazing. And yeah, I mean, there's so many different events, isn't there? Charity events where, sometimes you go to charity events or you go to these corporate events, and it is about status sometimes. And so, for a guy, you want to wear your jacket, you want to stand out. we've had some great jackets at the awards over the years. We've had red velvet, we've had all sorts.
So that black velvet there was just one, because I tend to, when it comes to dinner jackets, I'm kind of quite old school and quite kind of formal on them. But any form of velvet jacket is a great stand-in for a dinner jacket. You know, any form of kind of velvet or satin jacket. Just what you're looking to do is, again, is just that elevated, polished look, something a bit special. You know, and it may be, I think Fidel used to wear a jacket that was all full of covered in skulls. You know, and even though that's not Fidel Bohel, even though that wasn't a dinner jacket, it could have absolutely been worn as a dinner jacket because it's something just a bit special. And I think that's exactly it. The same way that you were saying that, you know, you go and you buy your posh frock and it's kind of something that you're wearing, and you're gonna look in yourself in the mirror and you're gonna think, yeah, man, I look amazing, right? That's exactly what the guys want to do as well. Because if you've never done that, as a man, everything that you've ever worn is utilitarian. Right, which there's lots and lots of men that I know that are customers of mine that, you know, that we've put them in their first dinner jacket or their first formal shirt, or right. And the whole point is that there is no feeling nicer than getting dressed up, standing, looking in a mirror and thinking, yeah, I look $1 million. You know, and if it's for something like an award ceremony where, you know, you're going to go out and you're going to feel the part, it's not so much about how you look, it's about how you feel. And feeling the part in an award ceremony, particularly if you're a nominee or a winner, is something that you will absolutely, like, you know, love. It is. It takes an experience which is a fun, interesting, enjoyable experience, and it just turns it, you know, as they said in Spinal Tap, it just turns it up to an 11. So that's what it does. It just kind of takes up to an 11. So, but again, it's not about how much money you spend. It's about getting the look, and the look doesn't necessarily have to cost an absolute fortune. It's just about attention to detail, and most of us have that in our business lives anyway. You know, we cross all the T's and we dot all the I's and we make sure that everything's done absolutely perfectly. So it's just about taking that and just moving it to a different part of your experience.
That's amazing. Honestly, I could who knew that I would get so interested in dinner jackets? But, you know, like I said, we do the hair, we do the makeup. We have, so my hairdresser and my makeup artist, they come along in the daytime. They can, you know, the people that are coming can book slots with them. We've done that every year for years, and every year I kind of, you know, Mr. C again, oh my god, I can't get in my hotel room because there's women everywhere, and, you know, they're all having the stuff done. And every year I think we need to do something for the men, because we do get more and more questions about, you know, what can men wear. And actually we've had some over the years from women that have said, I don't do, you know, posh frocks and dresses, and actually I would feel more comfortable in a suit. And so we've had people turn up in a suit, and it's, you know, and they've absolutely rocked it, and it's been amazing. So, you know,
those are a huge industry now, for that exact reason, because, you know, as what we wear gets more fluid, you know, there's absolutely no reason that a woman can't rock an amazing tuxedo and look fantastic in it. You know, there's also, we've not even got into kilts yet. And as a Scot, you know,
so that was my next question. My next question was, are you attending awards in kilts? Because we have had some people attend in kilts, and they kind of steal the show a little bit, don't they?
So I have a kilt in my wardrobe, and I wear it semi-regularly. However, I don't know. I feel like, so I live in England now. So even though the accent says Scottish, where I live is in Carlisle in Cumbria. So about as close to Scotland as I can get without actually being in Scotland. But because I live in England, I tend to wear a kind of a dinner jacket or so. However, I'm going on a cruise in October. I'm working as a stylist in New York for a week in October. And then we worked out that it was cheaper to cruise back on the Queen Mary 2 than it was to get business class flights. So we just thought, let's take a week's holiday on the way back. So on that cruise, I'll be taking a kilt, and I'll be kind of like, when one of the nights I'll be wearing a kilt. It's a very different look. If you're Scottish, then you know that kilts have to be worn responsibly. And every Scottish person who is watching this will be laughing right now.
I'm laughing because I know what you're getting at.
Because once the drink starts to flow, And those who are not necessarily au fait with people around them wearing kilts start to kind of get a little bit disinhibited, shall we say. Wearing a kilt is a much more interesting experience than wearing a dinner suit is. So I think it's about picking and choosing your...
You know what's going to happen now? I'm going to have 100 men turn up to the awards in kilts.
But again, what I would say to you is that the same rules that go for a kind of dinner jacket go for a kilt. So whilst a kilt itself is an item of clothing, you would also have a jacket that would go with a kilt. And there are several styles of those jackets. And those go from kind of plaid, kind of daywear options straight through to kind of what would be called a Prince Charlie jacket, which is the one with all the diamond silver buttons on it and the waistcoat. And that would be something that would be a more formal version, again, worn with a bow tie. And again, it would be worn with often with a pair of shoes that are called ghillie brogues. That's the ones that have the laces up them. And a pair of, they're not called socks in Scotland, they're called hose. So a pair of hose that would go to just below the knee. So it's a very specific look. However, even if you've not got an accent like mine and you think you've got some Scottish heritage and you would love to wear a kilt, unlike a dinner jacket, where hiding a dinner jacket always feels a little bit like a cop-out to me, hiding a kilt is absolutely a cost-effective way of wearing a kilt, because a kilt is very difficult to find, for a lower cost, and they can run into hundreds, if not thousands of pounds to buy. So what I would say to you is that if you're thinking of wearing a kilt and it's something that kind of interests you, get yourself along to your local kilt hire shop, ask for their advice, and they will be a font of knowledge about how to wear a kilt and the best kind of choices to make. However, one thing I would say to you is that there is an item called a ski and do, which is a little knife that goes in the sock, the side of your sock, which is a traditional kind of item that you'd wear with a kilt. Now, under English law, that's considered to be an offensive weapon. And can get you into a lot of trouble for wearing. So let's
keep them at home.
Yeah. So you can get fake ones that are made of plastic, which are perfect. But my kilt's going on our cruise with us, along with a dinner jacket as well, just because there's a couple of events.
Oh, James, that's amazing. Thank you so much. What I will do is I will get you to send me all your links. We'll drop them into all the communities. I'm sure if anyone's got any other questions that they can come back on and, ask the questions, and we will get them answered for you.
I absolutely love what you do. I absolutely love your network and the people that are involved in your network. And I am all about doing everything I can to help everybody that's going to the awards look their absolute best. So, whatever advice.
Now, where can people, apart from the groups, obviously, apart from the communities, where can people find you? Just shout out the best place for,
all of your socials, James Hutchinson Style. So it's Hutchinson without an N in the middle, Hutchison. Or my website is www.jh.style. And if you're interested in the menswear side, all the beautiful ties behind me, that's that side. It's been a lovely evening. That side, it's taskerandshaw.com. So taskerandshaw.com. But I'll give you all my links.
Wasn't it? I remember the tie subscription boxes, and then it's just gone wild since then.
The tie subscription box is still going, the monthly tie club. We have customers all over the world, and we kind of just decided that the next logical thing for that was to just kind of open up an online shop and then a physical shop, just selling awesome accessories. Because like I say, it's the bit that lets you add that. You were talking about adding flair and fun and personality into clothing, and accessories are absolutely the way to do that. As
soon as I figure out what colour dress I'm going to wear, I'll be in touch to figure out what kind of colour we can get Mr. C into.
Absolutely, we will sort something out to get on matching for sure.
Brilliant. Thank you for giving up your Monday evening. You've been an absolute star.
I'm going to walk back to my car in a dinner suit.
Walk back to your car in your dinner suit. If someone asks where you've been, let them know you've been at this most amazing Business Success Network community conversation, and you were the headline speaker. There you go. Thank you very much, James. As I said, if you've been watching this live, do drop your comments and we'll come back to you. If you're watching it on replay, #replay. He's been James Hutchinson. I've been Stacey Calder. It's Monday evening. Have a great rest of the week.